Hello, my name is J Park. This is actually my second take of taking this video because the first one didn't have audio. Hopefully this one works out better. But this is my review video for CSCI 142 Java 1, week 4, I believe. At least that's what the chapter was, and I think we're progressing along with the chapter. So this week, what we had was a group project. We had the Revel textbooks, and we had all of those programming projects in the textbook, and then we had some videos to watch, and some assignments. Or there weren't really any turn-in assignments, just like practice, and there wasn't any quiz this week or anything like that. So this week in the project wasn't related to the chapter that we learned this week. It was actually a programming project we had last week, so it wasn't anything. It wasn't really trying to test anything new. I think it was just to make sure that we really understood the if-else statements and how they work. So basically, the project was it was a rectangle, and you're supposed to see if the point that you submit was in the rectangle or outside the rectangle. Like, so you input a point, and then the output tells you if it's in or outside of the rectangle. And that was kind of just like to reinforce like your fail statements, and obviously, of course, teamwork. Just trying to make sure that you have teamwork. And something that I put in the program was an absolute value thing, which is in the math package, which we've used before for like powers and exponent and stuff like that, but we haven't really gotten into it. But we do. It's a good segue into this week's chapter, which one of it was like math functions using the math package that is incorporated into Java. So the math package has a lot of useful math functions that you can use, like the mentioned absolute value and the power one that we used. But it also has a lot more, and the ones that we really focused on and learned about today was like how there was like certain constants like pi and e, and then there were trigonometric tools like sine and cosine, tangent, all that. And there are also other useful math tools that you could have used in there as well, like logs and such. Yeah, so we kind of just went over that, just learned a lot about that kind of stuff, which could be used in, of course, doing math equations, or there's also other applications that it can be used in creative ways as well. The next section was about characters, the character data type, which in Java is enclosed by single quotations marks. And something I found interesting about characters was that there's actually a Unicode, or like a value that it's associated with, and that's that's for the machine language, because we have the advanced programming language, which is like so that we can understand it. And I found it really interesting that there was a lot of applications to use knowing those facts of each other. And another thing with characters is that there's the escape functions, which using the or I think it's the / key, it can do special functions as well. And then our last chapter was about strings, and basically strings it's enclosed by like double quotation marks, and it's something that we used a lot in Python a lot earlier. But there's a lot more applications that we use in this one, like how you can like compare values, and you really have to make sure that the string is like you use the proper functions in order to do what you want, otherwise it won't work. And there's a lot of like comparison, which uses Boolean functions as well, especially comparing like if things are like equal, or like which one has a greater value and stuff like that. Just to summarize, we learned about math functions. There are a lot of different tools in the math package that we use that can be specifically used directly in mathematical circumstances, but also be useful in other situations as well. We also learned about character data types, which alone can be used as characters, and there's also the special escape functions, and there's also comparisons between strings and characters, like retrieving a character from a string by using the character at function and all that other stuff, like turn to upper, and we learned about strings and all of its methods as well. Thank you for listening to my week 4 review video.